So in today's lesson, we're gonna make an equation given the roots of the equation. So example 1. Okay, given the root 3i and the square root of 2, make an equation that would give you these roots. Roots is another word for zeros, so these are your zeros. So when you have an I or a square root, you have two answers. You have a positive answer and a negative answer. So what that would be is x plus 3i and x minus 3i. And the same thing for the square root. It would be x plus the square root of 2 and x minus the square root of 2. Okay, to find your equation, you can multiply all of this out, but that is very messy, and that could actually give you wrong answers if you do anything wrong. So what I would do is make a little trick in your mind. When you have a 3i or something like that, something simple with an I, think of I as a positive sign. And since 3i can give you two answers, that's x squared. And then you would just want to square 3, so that'd be 9. So that is actually your function that would give you 3i when this equation is set to 0. So here, let's write that out. For I, make the equation x squared and a positive number. And then whatever number is in front of it, so the constant, just square it, and then that'd be your number over here. For the square root, you can, well, since there's two numbers, it'd be x squared. So you would want to associate square root with the minus sign. So minus, then the number 2. Because when you set that equal to 0, x does equal the square root of 2. Then you can multiply this out and it will make your life a lot more easier. Okay, to expand this even further, you could either FOIL it out, or you can do the box method. But I'll let you do that. And when you do that, the answer is going to be x to the 4th plus 7x squared minus 18. And that is your equation for your roots. So in example 2, we have a more complex root that we need to make into equation. So let's say we have 2 plus or minus square root of 3 and maybe 4 plus or minus 5i. Keep in mind the plus and minus, it could be either or, but when you actually find the roots, you're going to have a plus and a minus, so it doesn't really matter how you write it. So what you're going to want to do is, since you know both of these have two answers, you're going to want to write that out so your teacher can see that. So you're going to have x minus parentheses 2 plus the square root of 3, then double parentheses, then x minus 2 minus the square root of 3. And the same thing for I. It'd be 4 my bad. It'd be x minus 4 plus 5i and x minus 4 minus 5i. So these would be your roots. To make an equation out of this, you can multiply all this out together, which would be very hectic and messy, as I said before. But if you do that, keep in mind that I squared, when you multiply that 2 times, that equals a -1. Just keep that in mind. So I am going to show you an easier way to do this and a very clean way to do this. What you are going to want to do with, you have 2 sets of equations basically. So you have 2, let's make this place plus the square root of 3, and you're going to want to set that equal to x. Because remember, a plus or minus doesn't matter because the roots are still going to be the same. I just chose plus. So what we're going to want to do is move this whole thing to the other side of the equation, or other side. So this equals 0. So you're going to subtract 2 on both sides. So you have the square root of 3 equals x minus 2. And then you're going to square the side. So when you square it, you have 3 equals, you're going to have x squared minus 4x plus 4 when you expand that out. So you're going to minus 3 on both sides, minus 3. So your equation to get this root, I should say, is x squared minus 4x plus 1. So when you set that equal to 0, your answer is going to be that. We're going to do the same thing for this one. We're going to set this equal to x. So here, let me move the paper a little bit. Here, I got a new paper because it was starting to get crowded. But we had, for our next equation root, I should say, we had 4 plus 5i, and we're going to set that equal to x as well. So when we subtract 4, I should say, let's subtract 4. So we have 5i equals x minus 4. As I said before, okay, we're going to square both sides. So we basically have 25i squared. As I said before, when you have I squared, that's equal to -1. That's negative 25 equals, we have x squared minus 8x plus 16. So you're going to add 25 to both sides. So your final equation to get this root is going to be x squared minus 8x plus 41. So yeah, that should be your equation. When you set that equal to 0, your root should be that. So now you have the equations x squared minus 4x plus 1. And now you're going to multiply that to x squared minus 8x plus 41. So when you multiply this whole thing out, you're going to get a really big answer, of course. But your answer is going to be x to the 4th minus 12x to the 3rd plus 74 x squared minus 172x plus 41. So in this video, I did not show my work for foiling out this, but you should always show your work so your teacher knows what you're doing is correct. And that is your equation to find those roots right here. Hope this helped.